Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to just kind of be giving my thoughts on the 2020 presidential debates and what they mean for the 2024 presidential election, kind of giving my analysis on what those debates could actually mean for this year's debates. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. And so, guys, right now we have the debates coming up really soon. The debates literally in 2 days, and we're going to be analyzing this. And it's going to be interesting because, first of all, CNN's not even letting us actually live stream the debate live. Where it would be kind of nice to have fact checkers on this kind of stuff, and they're trying to have a fair and honest debate. Meanwhile, you have the moderators for the debate. Essentially, they're like the most Trump hating people in the universe. Daniel Bush doesn't even want him on the ballot. And you have Jake Tapper, who, when he went into a Cuban restaurant in Miami, he was like, oh, he's trying to turn this into a campaign ad. And oh, that's enough of this. And then meanwhile, you have LARPers like Let's Talk Elections going out there modeling t-shirts for Biden's campaign, trying to pretend like they know electoral politics and stuff. It's pretty interesting. But to get back on track, right now, the main takeaway from the 2020 presidential debate is that Trump beat himself. Biden didn't beat Trump. Trump beat himself last time. Trump talked way too much when he shouldn't have, when Biden was about to say something really dumb, and Trump just decided to talk over him and ended up sounding like an angry Fox News grandpa who doesn't do anything all day but watch conservative media. And yes, that actually probably inadvertently gave him more of his base, but really hurt him with a small amount of independence that he could have gotten if he had just stayed presidential and measured. In his second debate performance, his performance was actually rated way better. He ended up doing much better during his second debate performance. So I thought that was interesting, and I'm pretty sure people on the inside were like, yo, you need to get it together. But the main takeaway from that debate is that Trump did not lose to Biden. He beat himself. And he was essentially his own worst enemy last cycle. Now, it's the exact opposite. Now, with CNN's thing where there's no live audience, I don't know why, the moderators are two super Trump hating moderators. They have to be sitting down. There's no third party candidates, and they have muted mics. So while each person's talking, the other person's muted, which that's not how a debate should even be formatted. A debate should be an open discussion. So I don't really understand why they're doing it like that, but it's fine because that's actually going to help Trump out this time, believe it or not. That's actually going to help him because now Trump can let Biden just talk his ass off as much as he wants and it won't matter. Now Biden's the one who may be going on the offense, or at least sort of on the. It's weird because Trump, when he was kind of acting all angry and all, oh, this and that, and you did this, and your son did this, it's kind of like defensive in a way, but on the offense at the same time. But I don't know what word to use to exactly describe it, but it's not a good thing. It's not. And now Biden's going to be in that mode because now Biden's the incumbent. But the reason why Biden's incumbency actually hurts him is because he's running against a former president who objectively has a better record on the economy, has a better record, even more so on foreign policy. You are looking at his foreign policy. There was no new wars started. Now we have a bunch of new wars started. And before him, all the other presidents had wars started under him. And so when you actually look at everything, Trump objectively, anything Biden says policy wise, Trump can essentially come back and be like, okay, well, I did it better than you, or I have a better plan than you do. Like for everything. Now, yes, Trump hasn't had a healthcare plan, but that's really not the most important issue of this year. That's going to be way less of an important issue than last time. And Biden, what's really interesting is that I kind of, when I was looking at the 2020 debates, he did the whole, your family at the dinner table and now the table's empty, or there's one chair that's empty because somebody died, and doing that whole little fake empathy puppet politician thing, which Trump called him out in the debate for it, by the way. But when I saw that and I saw Biden like saying all these things and trying to take the moral high ground on Trump, I was like, oh yeah, Biden's gonna lose re-election. Like when I was watching the 2020 debates, while I wasn't even a Trump supporter, by the way, I was leaning towards Biden. while I was watching the debates, while leaning towards Biden, I told myself, I was like, there's no way he's going to win re-election, because he set this is Biden's main problem during the debates. This was his problem, and it's not so much it didn't affect him then, but it's going to affect him now, because you're going to be able to compare the contrast between the two, because what he did was he set way too high of a moral high ground for himself, while Trump doesn't really do so, but Trump still kind of keeps it more real, and he's not a fake puppet politician like Joe Biden is. And so now Biden said, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and whatever." And either A, they haven't gotten done, or two, it's not to the extent that his own base wanted it. And on top of that, there's things during the debate that Trump said, like, yo, your gas prices are gonna go up. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that Trump said during the debate that was like that basically happened. So you're gonna literally go into debate with Trump literally just being like, "Oh, I told you so," and Biden gonna not be able to say anything. Now, from what I understand, the reports are saying that Biden wants to focus on abortion and January 6th and democracy, which he could do that. He could go ahead and take another 2% from the plus 65 vote that are partisan Democrats, but that's not going to help him win the election at all, actually. Because now in polling data, Trump actually leads him on preserving democracy in latest polling, especially after the verdict from New York. Trump's actually started leading that issue, funny enough, which is quite interesting. It really shows you where everything is at. But when you look at all the polling, yes, polling can be off, but it usually tends to underestimate Trump. And so now it's like you had a Republican internal in Oregon that has Trump up 2 points, and people will be out there, "Oh, well, it's an internal, oh, it's Republican leaning," but Oregon is a deep blue state. Oregon is supposed to be a D plus 15 to 20 state. A Republican should not be within 5 points of winning the state in an internal. It should not be happening. That's what they don't understand. They're like, "Oh yeah, well, whatever." And but if Biden was winning a poll by 7, they'd be like, "Oh, he's good in Oregon," even though objectively a D plus 7 poll in Oregon is still kind of bad, because the Dem internals always tend to overestimate Democrats, and regular polling also tends to do that as well. And so now when you look at this, you're like, okay, well, it's not looking great, because it's just not looking great because you have a lot of internal polling, but even public polling, like there's a poll from Rhode Island that has Biden up 7 points in Rhode Island, and Biden legit won that state by like over 20 points. So even if somehow he gets underestimated in those polls, Biden is not going to overperform the polls in Rhode Island by 15 points. He's just not. It's not going to happen. And so that's the problem for him. The polling looks really bad, which they're going to mention that. Trump's going to say it. He's going to be like, I'm leading you in all the state polls, which is already going to create a bad impression for Biden. And what's actually funny is that now this is like the exact reverse of what it was last time, because last time Biden was like, "Oh yeah, I'm up on everything." But now Trump is doing the exact same thing, except now that Democrats have been so used to being up in the polls nationally, now they're mad that Trump's doing it, even though it's now in his favor. So going into the debate, I expect Biden to take a very like, "Oh, you're a convicted felon," and all this kind of stance, and, "Oh, January 6th was an insurrection," and, "Oh, abortion, you took away women's rights of abortion." Like he's gonna really hit him on those things. But guess what? Those are not the top issues of the election. The top issues of the election are the economy, inflation, immigration, all the issues that actually favor Trump way more, and all the issues that Biden is favored on, they're like close issues. Like they're so close that Trump could legit just say something in the debate to convince everybody that he's right about the issue, and he'll probably actually get that support. Meanwhile, with the economy, there's no way in hell that Biden's going to be able to convince independent voters that he's better on the economy than Trump. Like it's just not going to happen. He's not going to be able to do it. And so Biden is coming in into the debate with a very low approval rating, by the way. He's going into the debate with a 40% approval rating. And it's going to be a bad look that he has a 40% approval rating and that there's no live audience, that they have to be sitting down, that they have the muted mics. Like, it's going to be a bad look for him because everyone's going to be like, dude, what's up with that? Why is there no one clapping? Because there's always been a live audience at the debates, always. But they know that if they had a live audience, that like literally everybody would be clapping for Trump like every like 20-30 seconds, because they know that, but they're not willing to put their guy through that. And so you have a situation where Trump is going into the debate with an approval rating like 2 points lower than 2020, except his job approval, like what's funny is that his approval rating is lower than what it was back then, but his job approval is significantly higher. Like, if you poll people on his job approval is like 10 or 15 points higher than his favorability sometimes. So that is the reason, that's one of the indicators that Trump could actually win big, like I've been mentioning, is that his approval rating and his job approval are way out of contrast. Like, their discrepancy between them is huge. Usually a presidential candidate, their job approval kind of aligns with their personal approval. Like, they usually kind of go hand in hand. Like, they may differ like a couple points, but they usually go together. But Trump is like one of the first candidates where his job approval right now, when you ask people, oh, how did he do, he gets like a 55% on average approval rating for his job performance. And in the same pollster, they'll be like, oh, only 40% of voters approve of Trump, but 55% of those same people will approve of the job he did. So there's a significant amount of the electorate that disapproves of Trump, but they're still going to end up voting for him. And here's the thing. Trump this year is way more calmer, he's way more funnier, and he's way more measured on all the issues and just his demeanor. And so there's a lot of people that had a bad taste in their mouth, which I understand, of Trump last time, where he was just screaming at Biden and being like, oh, your son did cocaine and whatever, which, let's be honest, that did not help him whatsoever. It did not help him at all. But now a lot of people are going to be caught off by that. A lot of people are going to be like, whoa, he's like way calmer now. But Biden, every single time Biden makes a public appearance, for the first 30 minutes of the appearance, he starts just yelling at everybody. He's just yelling at the camera. He's just yelling at everybody because God knows what they put him on. But essentially, he's going to be going out there acting very erratic, more than likely. Again, maybe not, but probably so. And Trump's going to be very measured. So it's like the exact opposite of the last debate, except now Biden's incumbency advantage is gone because Trump's a former president, so that gets canceled out. It's, you basically have two incumbents running against each other, and that's why the Alan Lichtman 13 keys may not be good enough this year, because you have a president that's a former president running against an incumbent. That's happened one time, where in 1892, which supposedly that guy's model goes all the way back to 1860, and he claims that he's gotten every election right, but he hasn't, though. That's the thing. He hasn't gotten every election right. In 1912, it doesn't predict the winner right, because you have a large third-party vote share where Roosevelt ended up getting a large third-party vote share, and they literally had, I think he had William Taft winning. I could be mistaken, but he literally had Taft winning the election, and he ended up only getting like 6 electoral college votes because Roosevelt took like 20% of the national popular vote. And there's going to be a pretty high third-party vote share this year, so that's already a problem. On top of that, you also have the fact that, yes, he got it right, but in 2000, he predicted Al Gore the winner of the presidency. Now, again, Florida was decided by like 500 votes, so that there's a little bit of room for discrepancy there. So that makes sense. However, he tries to claim, oh, my model's 100% correct, but here's the thing. He predicted Trump was going to win in 2016, but it's funny because he's on record saying that Trump was going to win the national popular vote. So if you really think about it, it's more of a popular vote predictor rather so than an actual presidential election winner predictor, in a way, if you really look at it. And the model's very subjective. Like, he's saying there's no social unrest, but really, if you just saw today, the United States fell below the ranking of like the 20 happiest countries in the nation. We're ranked like 23rd. So based off of that alone, you could even say that we are in some social unrest. And He said there's no military failure on Biden's part, even though Afghanistan's pullout, which I think was the right decision. I just think Biden's administration handled it extremely poorly because we have a bunch of equipment that was left outside, in the middle of a Middle Eastern country where the entire Taliban just took all of it. And now they have a bunch of our equipment. So there's just everything right now is going in Trump's favor heading into the debate. And everything for Biden heading into the debate is going back. Now, back then in 2020, you kind of had a little bit of a mixed bag. It was kind of like, well, Trump is the president. He has the economy kind of on his side, even though really the economy wasn't the best, even compared to a year back. And so you kind of had really Trump only lost the 2020 election, not because of coronavirus itself, not because of the BLM rights, not because of any of that. The only reason why he lost that election was because of the economic depression from the coronavirus. That is the only reason why he lost. If we didn't shut down and the economy did not die, even if like 5 million people would have died, he probably still would have won re-election. The only reason why he lost was because of that. That's the only reason why he lost. And you could even base that off of Allen's 13 keys, essentially, because Trump was like a key or two short of winning. And I believe the long-term key, because he measured the economy on GDP, he said that one was false because you had a dip, which made sense. I get like it's true. But if that ever happened, Trump would have probably ended up winning re-election. That's just how I see it. And everything for the debate now, heading into it, Biden's heading in with a very low approval rating. Basically, no track record. Biden, literally, you can ask people what has Biden done. Like, literally, they don't know. No one knows. Nobody knows. With Trump, you could say, oh, well, he did the First Step Act, or oh, he gave money to HBCUs, or oh, he started building the border, or oh, whatever. Obamacare, or oh, like there's a bunch of different things you could say. Even Bush, you could attribute the Patriot Act, which, even though realistically that's one of the worst laws that was ever passed ever in the United States, it's still something, you have something to run on. But Biden has nothing to run on. Nothing. He has nothing to run on. And the worst part is the most important issue of the entire election, immigration, that's his worst issue. And that's the most important issue of the whole election, even more so than the economy now. And what's funny is that the Republicans don't understand that in 2022, the reason why they failed half the midterms was because they were like, oh, well, we're going to fix the grocery prices and no inflation. But that's not the reason why 5 or 10% of the hidden Republican base comes out to vote for Republicans like Trump. It's because they're strong in immigration. And in 2022, Republicans really didn't hit immigration that hard. They really didn't. If they had, they would have probably ended up taking a couple seats. Like if they did, I would have expected Herschel Walker to probably win Georgia. Adam Laxalt, who really only lost because of a freaking snowstorm in Nevada, he would have definitely won by like 2 or 3 points. Ron Johnson would have won re-election even more easily. Pennsylvania seat may have flipped. Mark Kelly probably would have still won re-election because he literally won his seat by 5, which is pretty impressive. But looking at all the data, looking at everything is going right for Trump right now going into debate. Everything's going bad for Biden. And looking at the 2020 takeaways, Trump being his own worst enemy is not going to really be a problem anymore because Trump understands if I talk over Biden, it's going to make me look like annoying. It's going to make me look like a kid. And I might actually stop him from saying something stupid that could actually hurt him. And so Trump has even acknowledged that in rallies now. And so based off of all that information, I have a feeling Trump knows what to do during the debates now. And my guess is that the debate's going to be interesting because I'm not sure who's actually going to benefit from it. I don't know if Biden is just the bar so low for him. Like, because the thing is, guys, let's be honest. All of the media is going to see Biden walk out there. As long as Biden doesn't have a stroke on national television, they're going to go out there and say, oh, yeah, he won the debate. He won. He beat President Trump. That's what they're going to say. That's literally what they're going to say. Or they'll be like, oh, he didn't really lose that bad. As long as Biden is breathing and alive, he doesn't even have to talk. As long as he's breathing and alive and he's standing up there normal, they will basically say that he won the debate. That's what's going to happen. The bar is so low for Biden. And that's the thing. The bar is so low for him that he may actually pick up like a percent or two of Democrats that have been disaffected or that were going to vote for RFK, but they were like, oh, maybe he's actually not that bad. And they're going to end up going for him. But I think Trump is also going to net gain a point or two. So I actually think the debate is going to be a wash. That's my prediction. Again, if Biden literally gaffes so bad during the debate, like if he just like gaffes so bad that they have to take him off stage, then Trump's going to gain like 3 or 4 points in the RCP aggregate. And if Trump says something so stupid, like, or completely backstabs the base, like, if he says something about, like, what he said about immigration the other day about giving college students or students that come here the green card or something like that, like, if he says something like that, then he'll lose a couple points in the national average. Like, they would both have to gaff really bad for that to happen. And CNN is not letting RFK debate despite him qualifying because they know if they put RFK next to Trump and Biden, everybody likes to claim, oh, Trump's actually going to be hurt by that, but not really. Because everybody that's going to vote for Trump is already planning on voting for him, and more than likely, they're not going to really switch. There's a little bit of those people, but not really. Meanwhile, Biden, there's a lot of people like, I'm going to stomach my vote, but the second they see RFK, they're going to be like, well, he's way better. And arguably, RFK probably appeals to more liberal policies that progressive Democrats would like. And Biden would probably actually go down on the average, and Trump and Kennedy would probably kind of benefit from that pretty much. So that's why they're not including RFK in the debates. And so now I think the debate's going to be a wash. I think both candidates are going to gain and galvanize support unless something crazy happens. But that is my take on the debate. I'll probably do another video where I preview the debate. Like, I'll basically be like, oh, these are the issues they're going to talk about. Expect this, expect that, even though I kind of did that here already, but that's fine. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. I will see you guys in the next video.